Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you here today. And I guess this morning some of you may have stayed up and welcomed in the new year, and you slept in this morning. So maybe good afternoon. But either way, glad to have you here. Thank you for joining me here today. If you want to follow along, we'll be back in the book of Genesis, chapter 12. Continuing to look at Abram at this time as he is known, verse 7. And pardon me up front, I may on occasion call him Abraham even before the scripture says his name got changed. It's a difficult thing to keep straight. But in verse 7, we continue the story. It says, Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, To your offspring I will give this land. So he built an altar to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he moved to the hill country on the east of Bethel and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed on, still going toward the Negeb. This passage is kind of a transition passage in the story as we see Abram now moving and going where God has directed him. But there's something I want you to take careful note of here in these two verses. We see that as God speaks and as Abram obeys and moves. First of all, let's talk about that he obeys, that he goes. When God appeared to Abram, then Abram, he moved. He went where God sent him, which is somewhat of a mark of Abram's life. We see that in a number of places that God speaks. We see that with the sacrifice of Isaac. We'll get to eventually. We'll see that on several occasions. I'm not saying he was perfect. He made his mistakes. But generally speaking, he was obedient. The thing I really want you to focus on here and notice is that when God speaks to him, God tells him, I'll give you this land, he builds an altar. From there he moves on, and he moves to the hill country east of Bethel, pitches his tent, and there he built an altar. Abram obeys God's command. He leaves Haran with his wife, he and Sarah and his nephew Lot, and with his other workers, others in his fold in verse 5. And he moves out and he goes on faith to where God has sent him. When he arrives here at the Oak of Moreh, which was in all likelihood a place of Canaanite pagan worship, God tells him, I'm going to give you this land. When he does, Abram builds an altar. And he builds two altars here, one to the true God in this pagan place, one at, again, here the Ark of Moreh, and another in Bethel. And these are, they are public, visible demonstrations of his faith in the middle of a pagan world. In the middle of a pagan society, in the middle of idolatry, in the middle of all kinds of wickedness and evil worship, Abram builds an altar to the true God. Now, we don't today, often, I suppose maybe some do. I have seen some types of demonstrations and different things, but generally speaking, we don't build altars the way the folks in the Old Testament did. We don't build up piles of stone and mark places with an altar. But we certainly should be making some type of public declaration of our faith. We may not build these altars like Abram did, and others, again, in the Old Testament. It's a common practice, but every one of those altars was built for that purpose. Well, one of the purposes. They had several purposes, obviously, but one of them was a memorial, but the other thing was it was to be a marker. It was to be a statement of faith. And certainly Abram's were, as again, just simply because of the location that he built those altars. It'd be one thing to build an altar on church property, but it's another thing to build one in the middle of the pagan society and in their world where they worship their false gods. And unfortunately, I think maybe sometimes that's the way we are today. We build altars in the church. We make public decorations at church services. We make public decorations on Sunday morning. But Abram makes one out in the middle of the enemy's camp. And just want to challenge you this morning and encourage you. It's a good thought, I think, for the first of the year, that this coming year, let's stake out our claim. Let's make a decision, a determination that we sing Stand Up for Jesus. Let's do that. I'm not asking you to go out in the backyard and stack up a pile of rocks and have a religious ceremony. Certainly, I don't think there's anything that would be wrong with that if you chose to, but it'd be more important if in the marketplace we built an altar. If in the workplace we built an altar. Think about it. You have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.